Locked and loaded?
Third time's a charm.
That's what they say.
I'll write you a thank you note.
Hate writing thank you notes.
Oh my God, I'm a little nervous.
Hey sneak peekers, it's Trinity, and today I'm interviewing Keith Fraase, one of the editors of Severance, to talk about his work on season 2, episode 7, Chikai Bardo. So before we get started, could you introduce yourself, your name, what you do, and what show you're part of?
Sure. My name is Keith Fraase. I'm an editor, and I was part of this recent season of Severance.
Awesome. So I understand that you not only edited episode 7, but you also got to edit episode 5, I believe. So what kind of felt different about shaping episode 7's story, and did it bring any unique challenges compared to the 5th episode?
Yeah. Well, the fifth episode was much more kind of in line with, the style that Severance has sort of had over the past over its 2 seasons. I mean, that had its own unique challenges, just because I mean, every episode, everything you edit has its own challenges. But that was more. I was just trying to get up to speed. It's because it's the first time I'm working on Severance. I didn't work on season 1. Working on episode 5 was more of just me getting up to speed, kind of with the language of Severance, the sort of style of the editing, and kind of, it's a swift moving train, and I'm just going to jump on board, right? And then episode 7, and then once I got I kind of, had that foundation and got kind of sturdy, and then I got a curveball thrown at me with episode 7 because it's kind of its own thing, and it's sort of, we were allowed to explore and do things a little differently than like a traditional Severance episode. Um, and yet it's still like very much in like the same like language of Severance, because the director, Jess, she is has been the cinematographer for the show for so long. Severance is in her bones. She's a key creative, a key part of like the look and the feel and everything about the show. So it's always going to be there. The foundation's always going to be there. But she was really the one pushing us forward and trying to like, okay, let's try to see, let's push the bounds of what a Severance episode can be, and see if we can get a little bit more expressive with it in certain ways and try some more artistically adventurous things. So,
Yeah, and then I know one of the major or like most talked about scenes in episode 7 was the flashback montage scene, which is like the time lapse of Mark and Gemma's relationship, which was shot on. It looked like it was like shot on film.
mhm.
So how did you kind of approach editing that sequence and working with the director to capture their relationship in that way?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, that was all shot on film. I mean, anything that's not set in like the Lumen Industries is all film. Most of it's gonna be 35, but that specific sequence was shot on 16 millimeter. They had I don't know if it was a Bolex camera or something on set, and all of that flashback footage was just basically stuff that they were kind of getting in between takes. Someone would pick up, like, Jess or Ben would pick up the camera and go film different pieces, around the house. Or that actually the Mark and Jim's house is the house that Jess was staying in while they were filming Severance. And so the whole time while they were filming Severance, she'd kind of, wander around her yard and kind of film different things just to get little pieces of just of little flashes of life here and there, basically. But none of that was scripted. It was all just kind of, actually, in fact, the way that that was originally scripted, it was just supposed to be a time lapse shot. The camera was supposed to sort of pan across the room, and we were going to see people kind of coming in and out of this room, and books going up and down. That was sort of supposed to indicate the passage of time, right? But, you know, I think it was always in Jess's mind that she wanted to do something more with that. And she was the one who kind of kept pushing and saying, no, no, let's, the time lapse is just kind of boring. Let's push it further. Go do some more stuff with it. And we started to experiment. We started to use that footage again, which was just kind of, we had a collection of all this really interesting still life from around the house and little pieces of, Gemma doing the dishes and whatnot. Yeah, and it's just a matter of like, that that actually came together quite quickly. Once we knew what song we wanted to do, that whole montage we did, I think, like in basically an afternoon. It was kind of I work by the principle of, work quickly, kind of step back, look at things and see what you got. So I do like 30 seconds at a time. Jess was on the phone with me. She lives in Montreal, so it was we were working remotely, and she'd be watching my screen. I'd be doing kind of something. I'm like, "What do you think about this?" And she goes, "It's great, but let's change this stuff around." And then we kind of adjust. Anyway, that's how we did it. A deep dive, over the course of like 5 or 6 hours, and there you go.
Yeah, that sounds awesome, actually. I mean, I've never seen um like a relationship shown in that way, like just with the time lapse, which I thought was really cool. So along with that montage sequence, this episode also uses like beautiful transitions between the scenes between including like different match cuts and then moments of split screen. So how did you decide when to use those techniques, and how do you think they help moved the story forward?
Hmm. Well, so a lot of those were actually written into the script and also storyboarded. Jess had chosen a couple of sequences, not the whole episode, but a couple of sequences in the episode that she storyboarded pretty rigorously. And the idea of a flow of time was always in there from the beginning. I think the notion was, on these sort of in this sort of higher plane of consciousness, as Mark is in and out of consciousness, and Gemma is, because her personality is being severed and shook up in so many different ways, that we're sort of experiencing memories and moments of experience are kind of being shared between the two of them. And so there's this kind of, we didn't want to make this explicit, but just like this notion that we're kind of moving in and out of perspective, whose perspective we're in, and also memory. So that all has to be done with a sort of sense of flow and things turning into one another. So that was, from the very beginning, that was part of the conception of what the episode was going to be. Now, of course, one's best laid plans, are just that. And so there was a number of moments that had been scripted to be certain, had these beautiful transitions. Some of them survived. Some of them we had to break just because, when you're editing an episode, you have to like move scenes around based on story, tension and how you want things to build. And then because we wanted to keep that style, that was the kind of challenge in the edit is, well, now we got to find new transitions and figure it out. And I remember there's a couple that I'm pretty proud of. I mean, they're simple things like just like finding, Jim will be facing this direction and she'll blink and all of a sudden she'll open her eyes and she'll be in lumen on this direction. And that's something that we found in the edit, things like that. Just trying to keep that so every transition, it's all very seamless.
Yeah, and I think you actually kind of brought me to my next question, which is out of everything in episode 7, is there a scene you're especially proud of editing and why? Like what makes it stand out to you?
Ooh. Well, I mean, I'm proud of the montage. I'm just mainly because I did not think that that was going to. I remember we did it, and I thought it was very cool, and I loved it. But I was like, ah, this is never going to make it to the final episode. Like, this is like so outside the language of anything they've done in Severance before. And so I'm very happy that that was something that all the creatives in Severance, working on the team, were jazzed about, and everyone agreed to keep it in the episode. So I'm pretty proud about that. Other than that, the two things I would say that I'm most proud of in that episode also, aside from the montage, would be, um, I mean, I love the ending. The ending, the kind of the cross dissolving between the two of them as Mark is getting that news, and Gemma's sort of realizing that she's, escape is is hopeless at this point. I don't know. I just think that that kind of came together pretty slowly, and I just feel like there's a lot of pathos in that and a lot of emotion. Oh, I'm sorry, and I should actually point this out. No, no, hands down, I tell the thing I'm most pleased with in that episode is as we're leading up to the final scene between the kind of confrontation between Dr. Maurer and Gemma, and we have this sort of montage that involves the breaking apart of the of Mark breaking apart the crib, right? That we had to nail. That was always the thing. We have to get this right because we knew that was going to be so important for the last episode. Like if you don't feel it here, you're not going to feel it when you reveal finally what Cold Harbor is. So anyway, I'm very happy with how that kind of came about. And that took a lot of like finessing and, you know, just the massaging to get it into place. So there you go.
Well, yeah, thank you so much. And congratulations again on your Emmy nomination. I'm hoping for a Severance sweep. So,
Oh, awesome. Fingers crossed on my end as well. So thank you.
well, thank you again. As always, seasons 1 and 2 of Severance are now streaming on Apple TV Plus. Until next time, sneak peekers.